Hi and welcome to 5 Minutes with Kvesti. This time I want to talk about Sony RX100 V. I have shot few videos with this camera and I thought I could give my thoughts of it. And this video is kind of getting back to root. You'll see in this video same places that I shot my first short movie, and this exact place was the place where I first tried to talk to camera outdoors. This first short movie was shot with Sony RX100 III, and you can kind of compare how it looked and how this looks. That was a really bad place to record audio. It was right next to busiest railroad track in Finland, but I think I got something out of it. It was the place where I recorded my first audio outdoors, and I wanted to do it in same place even though I know it's not the best place to record audio. But let's get to the topic. I had Sony RX100 III before I bought Mark V. Mark III introduced me to form factor, and I liked the camera, but I wanted to have camera that shoots 4K. Mark III only shoots full HD, so if I wanted to have 4K video I had to get Mark IV or Mark V. I really thought to get Mark IV, but in the end when I tested these cameras in store, Mark V had better autofocus and that was it. 4K was main reason why I got Mark V. But there were other reasons like Slog 2, and you can use Mark IV and Mark V while charging. And then there were a couple of minor things that were better from Mark III. But there was one thing nobody thought about Slog 2. I have RX10 Mark II and A6300. Both have minimum ISO of 800 in S-logs. So of course I thought that Mark V would also have minimum ISO of 800 with S-log too. Mark IV and Mark V has minimum ISO of 1600 when using S-log 2. That may not sound that bad when you consider that first generation of A7 cameras had minimum ISO of 3200 with S-logs, but you have to remember that you can't add ND filters to this camera. You can only use built-in ND filter, which I think is 3 stops ND filter. This makes S-log 2 unusable outdoors daytime. Built-in ND filter just ain't good enough, and you can find results from my last week's video. I thought it was cloudy enough to use S-log 2 in that video, and when I got home and edited that video I realized that I had overexposed the shot and it was almost unusable. Maybe it was unusable, but I had to use it because I couldn't go shoot another video. That's why I use Pixel Profile 6, which is called Cine 2, every time I'm shooting outdoors daytime. When I compared Cine 2 to S-log 2, I didn't see it that much different. Maybe if there's high contrast shots you can see the difference, but for using outdoors, Cine 2 is quite okay. Of course I rather have a S-log 2, but it's unusable. If I knew that before I bought this camera, I might have reconsidered buying it, but now that I have used it, it's usable and it's not that big deal, considering that this camera is much smaller than A6300 with a lens or RX10. Shooting 4K has this 5 minutes time limit, but in my usage it's enough. I usually shoot 1 or 2 minutes at a time. If I have to shoot 4K longer than 5 minutes, I can use other cameras, or if I don't have other cameras, I have to use Full HD with this camera. One selling point is ultra high frame rates, but I'm not sure if anybody actually uses those after testing them. Usable higher frame rates are Full HD frame rates of 150. I'm using this camera in PAL region and I have PAL settings there, so those are the frame rates that I get. Image stabilization works only in Full HD mode. You can have stabilization in 50 frames per second and 25 frames per second. 100 frames per second don't have anything special stabilization. It has this same stabilization as 4K has, which is standard, and I don't know how much it stabilizes the footage. But when you think about it, if you slow down 100 frames per second, it stabilizes itself, or at least smooths the movement. Stabilization is same as with Mark III, and if I start to use a lot of stabilized footage and not 4K, then I'm not sure why I got Mark V. But I think Mark V still has better image quality in Full HD, and there are pixel profiles which give you better image than 3, which don't have any pixel profiles. I usually rather take RX100 with me rather than a 6300, even when 6300 gives me better quality, but that quality is not that much better. Maybe I'm lazy, but it's always easier to take RX100 with me. There are some people who vlog only with this camera and they don't have anything else. I wouldn't do that, but it's possible to use only RX100. It has its limitations, but you can overcome those limitations. Sometimes it means that you have to shoot Full HD instead of 4K, but you can do quite a lot with RX100 Mark V. I hope you got something out of this video. For me, that something is that I tried image stabilization first time. I'm not sure how it works, but I will see that when I edit this video. That was it for this time. See you next time.